buddy, put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Live around the world on the internet at MichaelDukesShow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Hello, my friends. Hello. Welcome to our post-election coverage of the Michael Dukes Show, broadcasting live. Oh man, it's a hot mess. I'm not even on the air down on the peninsula today because of some technical issues with the interwebs, apparently. So they're working on that desperately, trying to get things rocking and rolling. But we are ready to go with some post-election coverage. The good, the bad, and the ugly. There's some ugliness in there, my friends. There is some tales of woe. There is some sadness. But there's also some good news. There's also some good news. And we're ready to get into that and start talking. Start talking about stuff and things. So we're going to go over here in the first hour. We're going to go over the details of some of the major races, both obviously nationally, statewide, some of the local stuff. And then we will be joined in hour two, such as the plan anyway, by State Senator Mike Shower, who's going to come on board and talk with us and give us his reaction to what's going on. And we'll see what his thoughts are now that we can see the potential makeup of of both the House and the Senate. And I was trying to do the numbers this morning before my technical issues got in my way, but I was trying to do the numbers to juggle out and judge where we were going to be on the House and the Senate side. And I got a little waylaid there, so we might have to either do that on the fly or come back and talk about it again tomorrow. But it's some good. It's some good stuff. So we're ready to go, ready to dive in, and I think we should just and I guess we'll just start pulling stuff in. So let me hit the highlights. First and foremost, President Trump is once again President Trump. Or I guess I should say right now he is President-elect Trump, with a whopping 277 electoral votes to Kamala Harris's 224 electoral votes. And the map is really interesting to look at when you look at the electoral map. Can I share this with you? Let me excuse me while I whip this out. Let me share this with you because this is an interesting map as you look at it. And I know for those of you on the radio who are like, what map? I can't see the map. I know. And I apologize, but that's just how it is. So let's take a look at the map here for just a second. You can see that it's kind of interesting. I'll try and describe it to you for those of you who are listening on the radio. We got red and blue, right? I mean, so the Republicans are red, the Democrats are blue, 270 was the threshold for the presidential win, and Donald Trump has secured 277. He still has some states that are not, I guess they're a lead, not a solid. So he's ahead, but essentially they've already called all the races that are called have given him that 277. Nevada is yet to be called. Arizona has yet to be called. As of when this map came up, Alaska has yet to be called, although, I mean, he leads in all these states, right? And Michigan has yet to be called. But even without those, 277 electoral votes for Donald Trump. And what's interesting is the blue in this map is mostly concentrated, obviously, on the left coast and the east coast, right? So you got Washington, Oregon, California solidly in the blue territory. You've got, of course, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, New York, D.C., all in the blue column. Minnesota and Illinois both blue, and Colorado and New Mexico both blue. But it really looks like it's like the majority of the country is red, and then there's these isolated pockets in the middle. And it just seems like, to me, and maybe it's just because maybe I should pull some previous presidential election results and go back and look at them, but it just seems more and more that we're showing deeper hints of polarization than we were in the past. I mean, when you look at it again in the geographic sense, you can just see that the whole middle of the country, with the exception of kind of the edges and one or two islands in the middle, is bright red. And so I guess that's, I guess, again, I'm just looking at this and thinking this is, this is just showing the division of the country. And it's really, I think in many ways, it's the prime example of that kind of that urban versus rural divide. There were some surprises. I thought Georgia was probably going to go blue, but Georgia instead went red. And with Donald Trump at 50.8%, Kamala Harris at 48.5%, with 97% of the votes counted in Georgia. Pretty close, but not close enough. Michigan still undecided. They have not called it, although Trump leads at almost 50%, 49.8% to 48.2%. This was really, in many ways, one of the squeakiest races in our lifetime. Arizona, 51.9 to 47.2. Nevada, 51.5. This is a tough one for Kamala because she was back. She's down by almost 5 points in Nevada, which I think they thought was going to be a little bit closer than it really was. Interestingly enough, Maine has also got a couple of undeclared undecideds, but Harris has got a pretty significant lead in both of those areas as well. But it's been called 277 electoral votes for President Trump, only 224 for Kamala Harris. He has passed the threshold, and he is going to be the leader of the free world. Interestingly enough, the Senate also flipped. The Senate now, with 52 Republican wins, 52 Republican senators now gaining control of the Senate. And as of right now, the House also in Republican hands, 198 to 180 as well. And just as a side note, 27 Republican governors and 23 Democratic governors. Democrats, remember that red wave we talked about back in 2022? Apparently it was one of those slow building tsunamis, and it just finally hit, I guess. Although this is by no means is this what I think a lot of people would consider a mandate, since a lot of these states were fairly close. There's no 10-point spread in any of these major battleground states or swing states. Pennsylvania, it's less than 2%. Iowa, although he did have a commanding lead in Iowa, 55%. What is it? We talked about Georgia. We talked about Florida. He's obviously done well in Florida. But some of these other states, definitely interesting. Here in the state of Alaska, 55.6%, 15-point lead over Kamala Harris. So good job. Good job on that. So I guess that's the good news for those of us who were concerned about another 4 years under a Democratic president. Not that some of us are not a little concerned. I'll be honest with you. I ranked President Trump a third on my ballot, behind Chase Oliver. And as a protest, I actually ranked RFK Jr. As well, just because I was frustrated with the way he was treated by both major parties and some of the news media and stuff. But I did get a chance again to rank my libertarian candidate. But I did finally rank the president, and so we'll see what's going on there. We'll see what happens there. That is, I think, the big good news. The second piece of good news is that as of right now, Nick Begich is currently, and this is as of what time was it? 3:03 a.m. this morning. 3:03 a.m. this morning, Nick Begich is at 49.66%. Now, the only way to not trigger a rank choice shuffle is to have to reach over that 50% threshold. So we've still got more to come. There are only 375 of 403 precincts reporting in. So there's still 93% that have reported in, still 7% that have yet to report in. So we're still waiting. We're still waiting right now. Somebody just told me to go sit in the corner with my face to the wall for voting for, apparently they didn't like the fact that I voted for Trump third. They just wanted me to vote for him first, I guess. So it's going to be interesting to see where that comes out. Now, 49.66% for Begich and 45.27% for Peltola. And there's still a bunch of precincts to come. And I imagine many of those will be rural districts. So it will probably heavily weigh towards Peltola, but that's a 10 or 12,000 vote difference that Nick is ahead right now. And I know for certain that some of those votes, if it does trigger a ranked choice shuffle, John Wayne Howe has 9,700 votes. And I would imagine that more of those probably would have ranked Nick second. And ironically, I also voted for Eric Hafner as my first round pick on ranked choice voting. Why? Because according to the Good Brooks Institute, the second round candidate has a much higher chance of actually winning. So I voted for Eric Hafner and then Nick Begich. I know. And then I voted for John Wayne Howe. So, I mean, if you're going to play around, you might as well play around, right? So I know that Nick's going to get my vote if it goes to a second round of ranked choice voting. It's crazy. Now, we'll see how this all works out. We still don't know about the popular vote. Not that that really matters, because we know that it's all electoral college that matters, but it does hold some weight with people as they go through. If Trump does win, and in fact, I think Andrew just said that in the chat room, if Trump does win the popular vote, it is more of a kind of a mandate. So we'll see where that goes from there. But we're going to dive into some of the other local races as well, because while this may be the good news that, from some of your perspectives, that Trump has apparently won and that Nick Begich is ahead, there is some sorrowful news. And we're going to see where this comes from. And yes, and thank you, Tuckerman. Also, any early any early ballots that were cast or absentee ballots that have been received since Friday are not going to be counted until this week. That's what I read yesterday. Everything before Friday was counted on election night. Everything after Friday, it will be counted this week as they go through their continued preparations. So we probably are not going to know the outcomes of some of these races until the 20th, which is their certification on the 25th or the 30th, and but they're supposed to make an announcement, a preliminary announcement on the 20th. So anyway, that's where we are. Let me take a quick break. We'll come back to this. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio. We will return with more in just a moment. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook as well if you haven't yet. Facebook.com/Michael Duke Show/live. And you can join us in the chat room there. We'll continue. Your home for common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes on Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. You seem healthy again, MD. I'm mostly healthy. Little stuffy this morning, blew my nose, seems to have cleared it up. But finally feeling a little better. That was a miserable week. I'll just be honest with you. That was a miserable week, but we're back at it, man. We're back at it. Feeling about 90% right now. About 90, 89%. 88.4%. Yeah. Anyone else seen the Begich Peltola screen? Howe and Hafner got about 11,000 votes. Put that on Peltola, almost tied. Ranked choice voting bit them in their butt. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you look at the actual numbers, Hafner, as of right now, it was 3:00 this morning, was reporting about 2,400 votes. John Wayne Howe, 9,700. So depending on how those broke, even if all of Hafner's votes broke for Peltola, which they won't, because I know I voted for him. I know Brian voted for him as well and voted Begich number 2. There's probably a handful of us out there that did that, so some of those will go. But I think probably more of John Wayne Howe's people will, if they're going to rank a second choice, which they may not, they may exhaust their ballot. They would probably vote for Nick before they would vote for Mary. And so I think this is a pretty good shot. This is looking pretty good right now. We'll have to see how that goes. Whoops, close that there. Paul did the most patriotic thing. He said, I went uber patriotic yesterday. I voted and I bought a new gun. Well, there you go. What's with the white t-shirt? The t-shirt is actually not white. I don't know. Do I need to balance my camera again? Because it's actually like grayish tan. But I know I don't normally wear something this light on the deal here. Where's my exposure? Here it is. See if I can pull this down just a little bit. Is that better? That's too much. There we go. How about that? We'll call that good. All right. Maybe that's a little better. Anyway, this is my Firefly Doctor Who crossover t-shirt, for those of you who are wondering. It's the TARDIS and it's Firefly, Serenity, and the TARDIS. Anyway, that's my nerd alert for today. If you're on the radio, just turn up the volume. Yeah, the problem with people down south cannot connect right now. There's an issue. It's an issue with the stations down in Homer being able to connect. Let's see, can I get in? Can I get in now? Nope. All right. Looks like he won 4 out of 5 battleground states. Yeah, no, like I said, they'll be analyzing this race for quite a while. I think they'll be analyzing this race for years, because this is definitely an interesting shot. Greg says, I'm feeling some relief, which, I mean, I guess I am. I try not to let this stuff affect me. But I mean, I went to bed last night at 8:00. I was like, no, I didn't even. I turned the TV on to the news at like 6:30, watched it for about 60 seconds and said, nope. And then went back to watching something else and then went to bed. Bill also ranked Hafner. Yeah, the Democrats are now not calling for an end to the filibuster because they just figured out that they are got the House and the Senate is now in Republican hands. Let's see. Benny Johnson podcast showed that he got over 300 electoral votes. Interesting. All right. We're coming up on it here. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. Let's do this thing. Here we go.
The Michael Duke Show, proudly splitting the left versus right dichotomy. Yeah, I had to look that word up too. I don't think it means what he thinks it means. Here he is, though. That guy, Michael Dukes, the one with the show.
Yep. All right. We're ready to go here. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio. We are continuing our discussions of what is going on here in the state of Alaska with the election process and everything that happened. We talked a little bit about the national scene here just a moment ago. And that is, of course, with the president and the U.S. House of Representatives, the Nick Begich race. Final word on that is that Nick Begich ended up with 124,600 votes. Mary Peltola, 113,600 votes, so about an 11,000 gap between the two of them. John Wayne Howe, the AIP candidate, with 9,700 votes, and Eric Hafner with 2,400 votes, or just under 1% of the vote. And this is just the first round. This is just the first round. So we'll see where that goes from there. But let's move on over to some other races. Like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly. We've still got some good sprinkled in here, but we definitely have some bad and some ugly. So we're going to start off with Senate District B. Senate District B is Jesse Keel. He ran unopposed, 96% of the vote, only 3%, 4% write-in for him. But the bad one, this is I have a sad, my friends. The Senate District D race down on the Kenai Peninsula with 100% of the precincts reporting in. Jesse Bjorkman, the incumbent, is in the lead by almost 7 points. Jesse Bjorkman at 47.83. Ben Carpenter at 41.14, with Tina Wegner, the Democrat, at 10.79%. Now, the question is, how did Wegner, how did her votes come up on the second for second choice, for ranked choice? Because that's 10%. If they ranked Ben Carpenter number 2, maybe, but it's just not likely. But again, we still have absentees and early votes. This is just the precincts and day ofs. Anybody that voted Friday through Monday in person, or anybody with an absentee ballot that came in, those votes still have to be counted. But it's 1,000 vote difference right now. 1,000 votes between Bjorkman and Carpenter. I guess we see exactly how effective those negative campaign ads were in that regard. So if this holds true, I don't know what we're going to do for a fiscal policy in the state of Alaska, because there's nobody else in the legislature that's focused as much on creating a stable fiscal plan as Ben Carpenter. And he got so slammed on this. I just don't know. So this is the bad, I guess, and the ugly in both of those things. So that's Senate District D. Senate District F, with our good old friend Harold Borbridge, who pulled 7.4% of the vote. Congratulations, Harold. And fortunately, it seems like that did not prevent James Kaufman from being able to take a step ahead. He's at 49.16%. Again, we still have to wait for absentees and early votes to come in and see if that pushes him over the 50% threshold. If not, it will go into a round of ranked choice. And I don't know if Harold was saying, I don't know if Harold was telling people that they should rank James Kaufman second or Janice Park or whatever. Kaufman is 6 points ahead of Park right now. So I would imagine that this will probably be Kaufman's district when it's all said and done. District H, this was really kind of a interesting play. There's a 9-point difference between Matt Clayman and Liz Vasquez, but Matt Clayman outspent her like 10-1. So I would be shocked if this wasn't a win in this category. Liz didn't run a very solid campaign. And I think it's unfortunate, but Matt Clayman is back. He'll be aligning with Kathy Giesel. They've already set their unholy alliance, the axis of evil, or something like that. So District H is already lined out. Forrest Dunbar, of course, coasting to re-election on a 68% vote. The Senate District L, which is up in Eagle River, and this is a race that I thought, quite honestly, would be a little closer. This is the race for Kelly Merrick running for re-election against Jared Gecker. And she's got a healthy lead here, 46% to his 40%. The third candidate, Lee Hammermeister, is a Democrat with 12%. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine that people would probably be ranking Kelly versus Jared as a second choice from Lee Hammermeister's, cadre. So this is unfortunate. I thought Eagle River might have had a better chance with all the challenges that we had seen and some of the stuff that had come out with Kelly here early on. But we'll see where that goes from here. Good news in my district. In my adjoining district, used to be my district. Now I'm in District O, but I was at one point before they changed the lines again in District N. And this was the David Wilson seat in the Senate District N. David Wilson getting absolutely crushed. David Wilson only pulling 28% of the vote. Stephen Wright pulling 16% of the vote. But Rob Yunt, 53.55% of the vote. There will not even be a reshuffle if those numbers hold true when the absentee votes get in, because it's this is not even. So David Wilson is out. We'll mark that one in the good category. The race that everybody was worrying about and looking at right now, Senate District P. This is the race in the interior. Scott Kawasaki is the incumbent, Leslie Hajdukovic the challenger. There is less than, it's essentially 75, it's less than 1%. It's less than 1%. There's about 70 votes right now between the two of them. 70 votes are what's separating it. Kawasaki just has the edge right now. Now, this is 100% of the precincts reporting in, but we don't know where early voting is. We don't know. We don't know. How that's going to break. But this race is going to be a squeaker. Just a squeaker. Senate District R, the other race in the interior that everybody was watching, Mike Cronk absolutely crushing Savannah Fletcher. A 12-point lead. Now, this is only 45 of 48 districts reporting in, so they're still waiting for some of those rural districts to pour in, but it's an 1,800 vote lead out of 15,000 votes cast. So it's over 10%. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Burt Williams, the AIP candidate, pulled 6%. So if Cronk retains over that 52%, then there won't be a reshuffle. But if it gets back down underneath, then it could be a reshuffle. And I imagine that probably a lot of Burt's people, if they ranked a second vote, probably voted for Cronk. So I think this is a good sign for District R. Mike Cronk taking over the Senate there. And finally, the final the final Senate seat is District T. It was Donnie Olson. He was running unopposed. And so he got 97% of the vote. Just shows that you can't even make everybody happy even when you're the only candidate. All right. That takes us over to the House districts. We'll try and get through a few of these House districts before we move forward. House District 1 down in Southeast, Jeremy Bynum, 51% of the vote. Agnes Moran, 24%. Grant Echohawk, 23%. Jeremy Bynum is going to be the new candidate. This is Dan Ortiz's district, out of Southeast down there. So good news there. Rebecca Himshoot in District 2 running unopposed. Andy Story in District 3 unopposed. Sarah Hahn in District 4 unopposed. These are all like Juneau districts. Then we get to House District 5. House District 5, this is Louise Stutes, the perennial business as usual Republican who will caucus with pretty much anybody. But the people of Kodiak, you people down in Kodiak, you love her. You love her. 76% against Leighton Radner, the Libertarian candidate, which is super sad because Leighton Radner, I thought, was a very thoughtful candidate, and I hope he runs again. That was a super good interview that I did with him. Louise hasn't been on the show in 10 years. She's not going to come on this show. Yeah, we interviewed Leighton about 3 months ago, early on in the race. Anyway, 76% for Louise Stutes. So she is going to take House District 5 and retake her seat for how long has she been in the House? It's got to be close to 20 years, right? House District 6, another one that I was concerned about, but it's looking like some pretty good news, my friends. Sarah Vance, the incumbent, currently sitting at 47%. That's 5 points ahead of the nonpartisan candidate, Brent Johnson. He's at 42%. And then you have Dawson Slaughter, who's a Republican as well. He pulled 9%. So if most of the people voting for Dawson voted, second for Sarah, we'll see how it works. But right now it's about a 600 vote difference between the two of them. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out as they go through the recalculation for the ranked choice voting. And that takes us over to District 6. But we're up against the break, so we will continue here in just a moment. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. More thoughts on where this goes and how this leads. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We return with more election coverage right after this.
We're broadcasting live through a series of tubes.
Allowing all of these entities to provide streaming stuff going on the internet.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain. Sorry. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay, we are in the break right now. I'm just looking at some of these numbers. This thing with Sarah Vance, I mean, it's good. She's ahead. She's ahead by about 5% right now. But I'm looking at, and those of you who are down there in the Homer area will have to tell me, was Dawson Slaughter a spoiler? Is he really a Republican? What was his stance? I never got a chance to talk to him. What was his stance on things? I mean, do you think that people that voted for Dawson Slaughter are more likely to rank Sarah second, or would they be more likely to rank Brent second? That's going to be the major question here. I mean, that's what's going to be the interesting question, because that could spell the difference. He is really a Republican, says Elena. Okay. Well, if that's the case, and those Republicans actually did follow through on the instructions on the ballot and then ranked down, then I don't think we would have anything to worry about. I think Sarah would continue to retain her lead. If he was more of a spoiler, then I would be more worried. He is conservative. Okay. All right. Thank you. And it's just, I didn't know, because I never got a chance to speak to him. We put out requests and everything else, but people don't read their email or anything else. They're more likely to tank Brent because everyone, what? Elena says they're more likely to rank Brent because everyone I talk to doesn't want Sarah, says Elena. Interesting. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it is. It's a 5-point difference, but that really only translates to about 500 votes right now. And Dawson's has got about 800 votes. So even if they split them evenly, I don't know. And that's not going to happen because not everybody ranks everybody. Okay. What else have we got here? Okay. I got too many technical stuff. I got too many windows open all over the place. All right. Let me go back over here. Sarah got my vote, says Greg. Mine too, says Bill. Let's see. More importantly, is Slaughter related to the WWF superstar Sergeant Slaughter? Oh yeah, I'm sure they're brothers, cousins. I'm sure that's what it is. Let's get ready to rumble. All right. Brian said he didn't even realize that Leighton was running. Yeah, I mean, I think Leighton, he ran it was a low-key campaign. He didn't really, I don't think he did any real fundraising. I don't think he did much of anything, which is too bad. If, I know if you're going to run, I think you should go full-throated, wholeheartedly, raise money, do campaign stops, do all that kind of stuff. Somebody then said, Paul said that Radner did not get a message out there in Kodiak. And Kodiak is that's Louise's power base. They've been reelecting her since, day one. Yeah, Bynum here with Tuckerman. Tuckerman is doing some analysis here for me. Bynum is a gain for the R. Holland over Bauer is a D gain. Knopp over Johnson. Technically, we will see. Wright defeated by Ted Eichscheid, gain for the D. The Groh-Nelson race still up in the air. Eastman defeated by Underwood, +1R for the majority. Menard and Moore waiting on ranking. Schwanke on ranking. Baker likely out, so a loss for the R majority. Yeah, you spoiler alert. That's where I was going this morning. But thank you, Tucker. Man, thank you. My life is Brian says my life is too many windows open. Yeah, don't forget absentees, said Kevin. Sarah chased them all. I hope the absentees in the earlies come in, and I hope they break towards her, but we'll see. Did you go the ballots? Oh, did you go over? I think is what she's trying to say there. Man, your autocorrect is harsh this morning, Elena. Did you go over the ballots yet? I just got in a few minutes ago. No, I have not gone over the ballot measures yet. We're going to try and get to that here. I'm in House District 6. I only have 34 more to go through. A lot of them are easy. So we'll see what's going on. But I have not gone over the ballot measures yet. And Harold is in the chat room already being salty about Trump being president. We knew that was going to happen. He kept saying, like, it's never going to happen. He's a brother. And then you knew he was going to be salty the minute that it happened. You just knew it. Not unexpected. Not unexpected. All right, let's get to it. Here we go. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that stuff. Let's get to it. Here we go. All right, welcome back to the program. I'm just broadcasting to the interior today. It feels weird. They had a equipment failure down at the station, and so we're not connected. We're having issues, which is too bad. But we're going over election coverage here. We're going over the results of the election as of 3:00 this morning. Remember, with ranked choice, we just don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have to wait 20 days before they go through the ranked choice, shuffle, as I call it. But we're going to see where this comes out. But I'll be honest, spoiler alert, it's not looking good for the House majority at this point. But we'll keep going on here. We were stuck at House District 6. We were stopped. House District 7 is the race between Justin Ruffridge and Ron Gillum. Ruffridge pulling out a decisive victory, 20 points ahead, 59% to Ron Gillum's 39%. So that's a no ranking needed there. That one's moving forward. House District 8 is Ben Carpenter's former position. John Hillier was running against, which was the Carpenter endorsed candidate, against Bill Elam. 47% for Hillier, 51% for Elam. That's about just under a 300 vote difference. I don't know if there's enough absentees out to make that up or make a difference. I don't know. It's going to be close. That one's a close one because, again, we're only talking about 300 votes. Don't tell me your vote doesn't count, because there's a couple races in here where the difference is like 7 votes at this point. Let's go over to District 9, which was Laddie Shaw's previous district. Now, this is a tough one. This was the 3 Republicans in the race, and then the other 2 dropped out, and that left Lucy Bauer. And Lucy Bauer is up against the nonpartisan, although completely endorsed by all the Democrats, supported by the Ship Creek Group, done all the other stuff, Kai Holland. 53% Lucy Bowers, 46%. That's a tough one. That was the Laddie Shaw seat there. That's a tough one to lose. So that's a loss on the Republican side of the district. Then you've got District 10, which is Chuck Kopp and Craig Johnson. Kopp, as you know, was part of that cabal 3 years ago, Jennifer Johnston and Kopp and all those people. They were basically part of the business as usual crowd. He is back 60% to Craig Johnson's 37%. Let's just mark Chuck Kopp as one of the major players in any kind of upcoming majority maneuvers for the House. Will he automatically join with the Democrats? I don't know. But I think he's in a very strong position to make some plays there. We'll see how that rolls out. District 11, Julie Colomb versus Walter Featherly. Luckily, Julie Colomb well ahead by 8 points between Walter Featherly. She's 53, almost 54%. He's at 45%. So a good 8 points between Colomb and Featherly. Looks like she's going to be returning to the State House. Calvin Schrage was against Joe Lertzema. Calvin Schrage, again, the favored candidate there. Almost 60% of the vote for Calvin Schrage in District 12. District 13, Andy Josephson going back 52% to Heather Gottschall's 47%. That's about a 300 vote difference. Again, I don't know how many. There's only 15,000 registered voters. Apparently, only 5,800 cast their ballots. I don't know if there's enough. It's 300 votes. I don't know if there's enough in there for that to be made up, but I seriously doubt it at this point. House District 14, Elise Galvin and Harry Camden. Elise Galvin, 77% of the vote for Elise Galvin in District 14. This is a pleasant surprise. District 15, Mia Costello, who was again outspent by her opponent by a significant margin, coming in 52% to Denny Wells's 44%. So it looks like Mia Costello is going back into the legislature, this time in the House. She was a former senator. Now she's back in the House. Looks like she's going back for House District 15. So that's a good news there for there. District 16, Nick Mo, Carolyn Hall, them and the non-declared, Carolyn Hall going back. Zach Fields in District 17 running unopposed. District 18, this is Cliff Grove versus David Nelson. Now this race is too close to call. The difference between it's 18 votes difference right now. I'm sorry, 28 vote different right now between Cliff Grove and David Nelson. For a good portion of the night, David Nelson was ahead by a dozen votes or so. Right now, it's 50.5% to 49.46%, which is less than a percentage point. We'll see if this gets close enough to actually trigger a recount on it. But as of right now, this race is too close to call. If David Nelson gets in, this could be the toe over the finish line they need to try and retain some control in the House. So this is one of those races to watch right now. David Nelson, Cliff Grove, District 18. District 19, Genevieve Mina goes back with a 59% over 31% lead from Kaylee Anderson in District 19. House District 20, Andrew Gray against Scott Kohlhaas, the Libertarian. Andrew Gray, 62%, which is, again, not unforeseeable, but unfortunate. House District 21, Donna Mears goes back into the seat against Amy Sims, 53% to 46%. Stanley Wright and Ted Eichheit in District 22. This one's pretty close. It's less than 100 votes, or just over 100 votes, I guess I should say. Just over 100 votes difference between the two of them. 51% for Ted, 48% for Stanley. But it's 108 vote difference. Ted is only ahead by 108 votes out of a district with about 14,700 voters. So how many people early voted? How many people early voted after Friday? How many people didn't get their absentee ballots in until Friday? Interesting. We'll see where that goes. 23. This is Jamie Allard. She handily wins re-election in District 23, 62%. Dan Sadler was running unopposed in 24. Delana Johnson unopposed in 25. Kathy Tilton unopposed in 26. House District 27. This is the David Eastman Jubilee Underwood race. And I am pleased to announce right now that it looks like Jubilee Underwood is the winner as it sits right now. 51% to David Eastman's 47.69%. There were 77 write-ins and 1.25% write-in rate, but it looks like David Eastman may be out and Jubilee Underwood may be in, which is a win for a majority. Whether that's a win for the people who live there or not, those people had to decide. But I think that there's been enough falderall over this that I think that I think we can safely say in the end, if this turns out to be true, that the electorate has spoken, that they want effectiveness, not just rhetoric, I guess is what I would say in that regard. So again, there is about a 230 vote difference between the two. So, you know, we'll see how it comes out. But if she retains that 51%, there will no recount, no shuffling, no nothing else. Here's one of the more interesting races, and this is House District 28, and this is where the ranked choice component is going to come in here. This was a three-way race between three Republicans, Alexi Moore, Steve Menard, and Jessica Wright. And nobody got a 50% majority in this race. So this is going to come down to the ranked choice shuffle, so to speak. And it's going to be interesting to see how it breaks out. But we're going to have to continue to go over this here in just a minute. Alexi Moore, though, 37%, Steve Menard, 35%, Jessica Wright, 25%. Who did those voters rank second? We don't know. And that could decide, is going to decide who is going to take it. Will Alexi Moore remain supreme over Steve Menard? We won't know this till the 20th of November. Hour 2 is dead ahead. The Michael Duke Show. Mike Shower's coming up. We'll be back with more after this. Yeah, Tuckerman makes a good point that the military, David Nelson resonates really good with the military. He's been taking about 65% of that vote, and so absentees for him should be good. That's going to be a close race. I mean, there is a pathway for them to pull out a Republican majority win in the House, but it's a dreadful path. It's going to be tough. Let's see. Just scrolling through here. Bill, Eastman losing is a win for sane Republicans. Interesting. We want Alexi Moore, says Terry. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. 20th, thanks, Scooter. Let's pray for Alexi and Jubilee. Jubilee and Alexi and Juno would be amazing. Greg says, why is it that I feel unsettled? Something is not right. Hope this feeling goes away. I hope it does too, man. Holy cow. The man, the myth, the legend. Anthony, Thought I'd make a reappearance this morning. I actually was thinking about him the other day, and I worried about him, and because I hadn't seen him in months, and so I sent him a message and said, "Hey, everything good?" He's been busy. He's a busy boy. Anthony, it's great to see you, man. Come on, you got to get up early. You got to get up early and come in and join us. It's good to see you again, my friend. It's good to see you. Talk amongst yourselves for just a moment here. I have to deal with this technical issue down in Homer with the stations. Just hold on a second. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Well, let's see if we can dial up the man, the myth, the legend, shall we? See what he's got going on. Right there. Okay. Let's see if we can dial him up this morning and get his feelings.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic.
Oh, denied. I didn't confirm with him. You know, we said we were going to do it last week, but then I didn't confirm. I normally confirm with him just to make sure. Oh, man. Let's try this again. Come on, baby.
Your call has been.
Nope. All right. Okay. Did we do it one last time? Do we do it one last time? Yes, I'm on the radio in Fairbanks right now. I'm just not on the peninsula. All right. One more time. Maybe we should have Kevin call him. Nope. Says, no, I didn't mean to do that. It was ringing.
Your call has been forwarded.
Nope. Okay. All right. Well, bummer. I'll send him a text, I guess. All right. Well, that's fine. We've still got stuff to do. Look at this. Rob Yunt in the chat room. Good morning, Rob. Welcome back to the program, but congratulations. Decisive victory. Decisive. I love it. Rob, if you want to make an appearance on the show today to thank your followers or to talk a little bit about where you're going, feel free. Let me know, and I will I'll drop you a link. I'll drop you a link, and you can use your phone and just come on in with your phone, and we'll do that. If you want to do that, Rob, you're welcome to do so. Okay. Ooh. All right. Good morning, Rob. Congratulations. It looks like Dozer's going to snub me. Well, I mean, yeah, possible. It's possible. Do I need to make a donation to my house? I've already made my donation to my house this year. All right, Rob, I'm going to, I think I have your email address. I'm going to drop you a link to your email. And I'll let me put it in here to see if I got it. Oh man, everything is so slow this morning. Come on, hurry up. UINDT. What is it again? Yeah. Give me your email address there if you can, Rob, and I'll drop you a link. And we can, if you've got a public email address, I'll send it to you there. Give it to me, and we'll try it from there. All right, folks, here we go. We're going to talk to Rob Yunt here in a minute, I guess, and we'll see where it goes from here. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We return more right now.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Whoa, buddy. Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast. The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
Sounds just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Live around the world on the internet at MichaelDukesShow.com and across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Hello, my friends, and good morning. How are you doing this morning? You ready to go? You ready to rock and roll? I am. It's hour 2. Now, normally, and we were expecting to be joined by State Senator Mike Shower this morning. Unfortunately, that's not happening. Unfortunately, that is not going. I don't know what happened, but he's a busy boy. He's got something going on, and we're not able to talk to him this morning. So we instead are expecting to be joined here in just a moment by candidate and I guess. Senator-elect, maybe, I think we should say, Rob Yunt, who was running for state senate in the Matsu against David Wilson, and lo and behold, he joins us this morning in the green room, and he's ready to go. Hello, sir. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
You know, it's post-election day, so at one point we're relieved. But in the other point, now we've got to deal with the aftermath. So it's a little bit of a toss-up. But tell me, how are you feeling? I mean, you know, a great race, a lot of strong support, and a decisive win in district D. Or I'm sorry, in district. Which district was it? I keep forgetting.
Anna's in Nancy. That's okay. Anna's in Nancy. Yep. So
yep.
It.
53% to 28% for the incumbent. That's a pretty healthy lead.
Turns out common sense is still common. What a great day for America. You know what I mean? My seat meant a lot to me. I have things that I believe Alaska needs to work on. So it means a lot to me. But if it took every one of my votes to get Trump or Begich over the top, I can tell you both of those seats are, you know, in my opinion, way more important for Alaska. And I'm so grateful that both of those guys won. Looks like we're getting rid of this crap, rigged, garbage ranked choice voting. So I'm excited about that. And it's just nice to see that Alaska can't be bought by outside interests. That's what makes me the happiest is you look at all the money they spent to save ranked choice and the fact that Alaskans were able to see through that and we're going to get rid of it that's a big deal. So.
Yeah, no, they were outspent 100 to 1. 100 to 1. Yeah. And if it's this close at 100 to 1, I will definitely count that as a victory. Now, we're still going to see where it lays out, but it looks like it's going to probably pass by a squeaker. Unfortunately, ballot measure number 1 did go through, and that's got a significant win there. But I mean, I'm going to disagree with you, Rob. I think while it's important that we were able to vote for Trump and Begich and those two, candidates look like they're won. I think that your seat and other seats, this is the place where we as Alaskans can make a difference. Hard to make a difference on the national level. Easier to make a difference.
That's fair to say. That's fair to say. And I'm in the team building business. I've been my entire life. I want to bring people together and empower the Republican Party. That's my goal. Let's put the Republican Party back in the driver's seat. That's my only goal. Treat everybody with respect, even if they don't have an R next to the name. But we're working with Republicans, and we're going to get good business done with the team.
So tell me, Rob, I mean, just give me a snapshot here as you get ready. We can do the victory lap and everything, but What are your priorities as you go into this next session? As you start talking, I know you've probably had some conversations with other senators. Shelley Hughes, is your neighbor, Mike Shower, some of the others. What's your plan as you go into this session here? Are you guys going to be coming together, working as maybe a minority, maybe as a majority, maybe recognized, maybe not? I mean, what are your thoughts?
There's a path forward to a Senate majority of Republicans, and I'm going to do everything in my power to bring that together. So I can't
Awesome.
speak for everybody else. I'll speak for myself. That's the goal. I want to bring us back together. And, Mike Kronk is going to play a big role in that. He's a team builder. He's an ex-athlete like me,
Yeah.
in the team building business as well. And he's a damn good man. And I'm looking forward to him and I hopefully being able to help bring everybody together. That's what I'd like to see.
Oh, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. And of course, the race that everybody's watching with bated breath is the race in the interior District P for between Kawasaki and Hajdukovic. That one is so close right now. If Leslie comes in, that could be a big boon for you guys.
Yeah, that'd be a big one, but hopefully it goes well. But we've already got the majority. We've got 11. Would we love 12, 13, 14? Of course, but I hope we can get it done with what we already know we have. And if we get some icing on the cake, that'd be good.
Well, we know we had a majority before, though, right, Rob? We had a majority before, but some people can't play well with others. Some people hold a grudge. Some people are business as usual. So the question
Well,
is,
I hope we can set all that aside and come together. And
yeah,
I know we can. We can.
Yeah.
It's the ball's in everybody's court individually, but Alaskans spoke loud. Look at the numbers in Mike Kronk's district. Look at the numbers in mine. And I
yeah,
was running against an incumbent. Right?
yeah.
It's not a coincidence. People want us to work together. And so that's
Yeah, no,
what we need to do.
I would agree. I mean, Mike Kronk also a significant win over Savannah Fletcher, 12 points or something like that in that race. So a pretty solid victory there. So I think you're right. I think we're getting a mandate of we need some solid conservatives going back to the legislature, to the Senate specifically, so that we can get that majority that we need to make a difference. And hopefully there's a path forward here where we may be able to retain a majority in the House, or at least control some kind of majority in the House, and maybe we can actually get some stuff done on a fiscal plan, et cetera.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be great if we could. Man, it'd be nice to start doing fiscally at the state level what we've been doing at the Matsu Borough these last few years. That would be epic. So.
Well, it needs to be done, Rob. I mean, look at the 10-year projections. We're deficit spending starting this year, moving the next 10 years out, 500, 800, $1 billion deficit. It can't continue.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts for you, Rob, for your constituency?
I just want to say thank you. Yeah. Thank you to everybody. Huge thank you to my wife. When I ran for assembly 4 years ago, it was to stop the Matsu Borough from becoming Anchorage, because there was 3 ordinances that were going to turn our local government into the same type as theirs overnight. And, I didn't grow up aspiring to do this. I got 6 children. I've been coaching 21 years. I'm very busy, and it was a calling, and my wife stepped up to the plate and has ran our business successfully ever since. I really haven't had anything to do with it in the last 4 years. And I would say the same thing about this race. This one, I just kind of got thrown into the mix last year as, hey, we need to step up and empower the Republican Party and save the day. And so here we go. And I couldn't do it if it wasn't for my wife. So and everybody else that supported me, I'm very grateful. Let's start team building. Let's start team building today and bring this whole thing back together. So.
All right. Well, Rob Yunt, thank you so much for coming on board and sharing your thoughts with us here on this victory day for you. And it's a new day. It's a new dawn. I think there's some optimism out there now, and we've all just got to come together and do the work at this point. So it's
Yep, I agree.
It's good stuff. So congratulations.
Hard work's the easy part. Hard work's the easy part. Let's get to work and get it done. So you guys enjoy your day. I got to step into a meeting too, and thanks for the opportunity to come on and tell everybody thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Rob, for being part of it today. Appreciate you coming in.
Take care.
That's Rob Yunt from District N in the Senate District N in the Mat-Su, recording a 53% to 28% victory over the incumbent, David Wilson. Somebody in the chat room was talking about ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting was on the ballot in several states, Oregon, Idaho, Colorado. And it was defeated. It was defeated in every instance. Colorado actually was defeated 55 to 44%, 11 points. It was defeated in Oregon, of all places, and it was defeated in Idaho. So those are the ones that I know of right now. But it looks like ranked choice voting may have taken the beating that it deserved at this point. So that is super, super good news for folks in other parts of the country. And now we're going to get down to our discussions. We were talking earlier about the wins. We expected to touch base with Mike Shower this morning, but he is not. He's not joined us. He must be busy. So let's get back to where we were at. Somebody in the chat room is going to have to remind me of where we were at in the list. I think we had just finished up discussing Senate District P, which was the Scott Kawasaki Leslie Hajdukovic race, where Kawasaki is ahead by less than 0.75%. Right now, the difference is about 85 votes in a district with over 26,000 voters. So 85 votes. If Leslie was pushing hard on the early voting and on the absentee voting, there's a chance here. This is going to be a very, very, very close race. And this could help decide. This District R race could help our District P race could help decide where we go. Thank you, Gail. Gail just posted for me the ranked choice voting numbers from across the country. Alaska right now by 1 point is defeating ranked choice voting. It's repealed it. Idaho defeated it 69 to 30%. Wow. Oregon defeated ranked choice voting 59 to 40%. Nevada 54 to 45%. Colorado 55 to 44%. And in Arizona defeated 59 to 40%. Man, that is some crazy, crazy stuff. And it's good to see. It's really good to see. All right. One of the big races, of course, we were talking about was District R. District R was Mike Cronk and Savannah Fletcher and Burt Williams. Mike Cronk, again, 52% for Mike Cronk versus Savannah Fletcher's 40%. Now, some people have said it's because people, support Cronk as a conservative. In the chat room, Leila said Savannah lost because of her activities as borough presiding officer, not because of her Senate campaign. I think it's a combination of both, don't you? I mean, that's her record. That is her record. She didn't have a record as a senator, but that is her record. And I think it doesn't make what we said earlier untrue either. All right, let's get back. We were in the House races, actually, when we were starting to talk before. We had just started to talk about some of the races that are actually going to be decided by ranked choice voting. And we left off with District 28, which was Alexi Moore, Stephen Menard, and Jessica Wright. No clear winner in that race right now. 37% for Alexi, 35% for Steve Menard, and 25% for Jessica Wright. Now, it's all going to come down to who did Jessica Wright's second choice, who is their second choice candidate? That's going to be the question. That's going to decide who wins this race between Steve Menard and Alexi Moore. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. District 29, George Rauscher running unopposed. Kevin McCabe, Doyle Holmes, Kevin McCabe walking away with a 9-point lead, 53%. Kevin McCabe is going back to the House of Representatives. Congratulations, Kevin. You're going back for another series of painful choices. I'm sure that's what's going to be coming out. Up in the interior, House District 31, Maxine Dibbert is ahead of Bart LeBon. That's significant. She's got a significant lead, 7 points there. So it looks like Maxine Dibbert is going back to the legislature in House District 31. Will Stapp defeating his challenger, Gary Dameron, 68% for Will Stapp in House District 32. Mike Prax was unopposed in District 33. Frank Tomaszewski and Joy Beth Cottle. This was one of those stealth races that people were really concerned about because Joy Beth Cottle is not a Republican. That has never been her position, although she plays one on TV. Apparently, she took that as a mantra. She joined the Republican Party just before filing, but apparently nobody was fooled because Frank Tomaszewski walking away with a 56% of the vote, a significant 14-point lead, and so good for him. Good for him. Frank Tomaszewski going back to the House of Representatives. House District 35, this was the Ashley Carrick. This was always an uphill battle for Reuben McNeil, which is unfortunate. Reuben was a very good candidate. We had him on the program here a couple of weeks ago. Really good candidate. I wish he could have seen a little bit more support. 53% for Ashley Carrick, 46% for Reuben McNeil. Another one of the districts that is going to be decided by ranked choice voting, and that is House District 36, with 4 different candidates, 2 Republicans, a Libertarian, and a Democrat. Rebecca Schwanke, who is, I think, the best of the candidates out there at 36%. Brandon Kowalski, Patuiti, sorry, I'm sure I just butchered his native name, 32%, Pamela Good at 25%, and James Field, the Libertarian, at 5%. So this will be decided again through the ranking shuffle here as they decide who voted second, third, fourth. Here's hoping that Rebecca Schwanke comes back. This is Mike Cronk's old district here before he ran for the Senate. Bryce Edgmond easily edging out Darren Deacon, 74% for Edgmond in District 37. District 38, this is an interesting one because this is C.J. McCormick, who was one of the rural Bush Caucus members who was, he had a bit of a meltdown. I don't know if you were watching some of his shenanigans this last year in the session, but it was entertaining sometimes, to say the least. C.J. McCormick, the incumbent, being defeated right now by Nellie Jimmy, who, if memory serves me right, is his former girlfriend. That's got to make for some awkward conversations. 36% for Nellie, 33% for CJ. Willie Keppel, caller to the program, frequent listener, 25%. And then Victoria Sosa at 4%. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But my feeling is that CJ McCormick will probably not be going back to the State House. District 39 is Tyler Ivanoff versus Neil Foster. Tyler, I thought, was very well spoken when he was on the program earlier, but Neil Foster is an old name. That's a political dynasty out there in the bush. 58% Neil Foster going back to House District 39. And finally, House District 40, which is Thomas Baker's current seat. He was the appointed candidate when I've forgotten I just forgot the previous legislator's name. He retired and went to become the mayor of his community. And Thomas Baker was appointed by the governor. Thomas Baker, though, unfortunately being soundly defeated by the Democrat Robin Burke, 58% for Burke, 20% for Thomas Baker, and another 20% for Simon Chase. So 3-way race, House District 40. Looks like Robin Burke is going to take that position, which brings us to Remember we said the good, the bad, and the ugly today? The good, Josiah Patkatak. Thank you so much for that, Kevin. Josiah Patkatak was the former legislator. Which brings us to, we were talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, here's the ugly. Ballot measure number 1, which is the minimum wage and Family Leave Act and anti-free speech. You can't talk about religion or politics in your business bill. And as I predicted earlier, because of the feel-good measure, because of the feel-good of, everybody deserves $15 an hour, not talking about the cost to small business, not talking about the fact that you now have to provide paid leave to every employee over a certain threshold, and that you can't, as a business owner, talk about politics or religion in any mandatory meeting. Not to say that we should be talking about those things, but again, the theoretical thought problem here is, what if somebody decides that they want to organize and get a union going on in your business, and you're trying to describe to your, to your employees why that would be a good idea? Dang. 56% said yes to ballot measure number 1. This is going to cost small business a buttload of money. A buttload of money. This is going to put some people under. It's going to put it between the, not so much the minimum wage thing, because again, McDonald's is paying $15 an hour right now to for starting deals. Anyway, I gotta go. Just realized I overran my stop break. So we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back. Don't go anywhere. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio. This is what happens when I got all this stuff going on. I forget. We're gonna go back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Oops. I was only 6 minutes late for that. I mean, no big deal. No big deal. Yeah. Ballot measure 1 is going to have a huge detrimental effect on small businesses due to the paid leave things. Yeah. I mean, it's not so much the minimum wage part of it. Although somebody did point something out to me earlier yesterday that I hadn't considered. And that is the fact that salaried employees, the minimum salaried employee that you can have is based on the minimum wage. It's based on double the minimum wage. So your minimum salaried employee just went up from $22 an hour to $30 an hour, which is a pretty significant difference, right? Where's my, come on, man, everything is so slow this morning. Because if we were at $22 an hour, times, was it 2040? That's $44,000 a year would be a minimum salary, essentially. But under this new law, if it's based on the same thing, which is essentially double, it goes to $61,000 a year as a minimum salary. So that's going to be, I mean, I don't know about you, but that's a huge difference. The difference between $44,000 a year and $61,000 a year is, that's going to be difficult. That'll be difficult. Tawny says, as a former business owner, this is sad for me personally, and makes me pause on the thought of starting another small business. Yeah. No, it's going to be, and those costs will be passed on to you. Not just the minimum wage, but the cost of the leave and everything else. That's going to be passed on to you. So even Harold agrees that government mandates for business never work out in the long run. See, even a stop clock is right twice a day, right? Frank says, I guess I will never have any more employees. Yeah, that's pretty much it right there. That's pretty much it right there. All right. Let me close that right there. Oh, don't need that anymore. All right. What else are you guys saying here? I haven't been keeping up with the chat room because you guys have been there we go. We lost Donna Ardwin along with Ben. Well, that's just the sad part, right? Is that Donna, who was working as a staffer for Ben, is now going to be gone. Although Donna has taken a special interest in Alaska. I think we are her special project. And we hope that she continues to have an interest in us. And maybe there's some other House member or senator that needs a new staffer that, we can keep her in the mix on this. You can only hope. And we'll see where that goes. Okay. I'm scrolling up here. Ranked choice voting down in flames. I had conversations with friends across the country about ranked choice voting. Me voting for a candidate should not be a multiple choice question. I'm not assembling the Avengers over here. I have missed you, man. I have missed you. Where you been? I have missed you. I was at D28. Thank you for Kevin was trying to keep me on track. I started back again in the Senate instead of on the House side. It's because everything was throwing me for a loop this morning. That's what happens. Bradley just said, I wanted to start hiring, for a laborer, but now I guess I'll just keep being a sole operator. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be, I think, an ongoing theme. That's probably going to be an ongoing theme. Rob Myers needs to bring Donna into the fold if he hasn't already thought about it. There you go. We tossed ranked choice voting so we can toss ballot measure number 1, too. This is the beginning of the real fight to us, says Catherine. It's a good point. Good point. We made one change. There's nothing saying we can't make another. All right, let's get back to it. Here we go. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio.
The Michael Duke Show. Seriously humorous with a pinch of intellect. Sorry. That is humorous. Here's Michael Dukes.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of concern in the chat room over ballot measure number 1. And this was what we were trying to tell people, that this is the dangerous part. Ballot measure number 1 is going to have a lot of unintended consequences. And whether it's just the salary thing that I just talked about, or whether it's making little mom and pops decide not to expand or grow, sole proprietorships will really truly be sole proprietorships because they can't afford to bring any employees on. Or, again, the fight against unionization of different businesses. It's going to be a difficult thing for sure. But that is ballot measure number 1. Ranked choice voting, on the other hand, ballot measure number 2, the repeal, right now, about a 5,000 vote difference, which equates to just about a full percentage point in favor of repealing ranked choice voting. This is some good news. Now, this is beside the fact that the ballot measure proponents, the people who put the repeal on, were outspent 100 to 1. And that number might even be low because I think they had about $140,000 over the course of the entire campaign and process. And they were the other side brought in 13 million and change. And probably by the time we'd get the final 30-day report, we'll find it's probably closer to 15 million. So they will have been outspent 100 to 1, and they still lost. Let's hope, fingers crossed, because this is only with 93% of the precincts reporting in. 93%, 374 out of 402. Let's hope that stays the same, that 5,000 votes makes the difference. Fingers crossed, people. Fingers crossed. But it looks like it's trending this way. And if so, it will join, again, a handful of other states. As I said earlier, ranked choice voting was on the ballot in many states, and it looks like it was defeated across the nation. So that's a good thing. I'm happy to, and I'm happy to see that probably more and more people saw this and probably saw through this because, again, of those disclaimers at the end of each ad saying who paid for it. If I see an ad and it's paid for by a bunch of outside groups that I've never heard of, I'm not going to vote for that. I'm not going to vote that way because I ain't interested. I ain't interested in that. But ballot measure number 2 right now is succeeding. It looks like it's going to win. I hate to be that guy that's going to say it's going to win and then it not be, because again, we're talking about 1 percentage point with only 93% of the ballots or 93% of the precincts reporting in. We'll see where it goes from there, shall we? Okay. And then of course we've got all the judges, which, can we talk about judges for a minute? We have got to do something different in the state of Alaska when it comes to judicial voting or judicial nomination. Because let's be honest, how many of you actually know the records of each of these judges? The only judge that that most people will probably recognize was Judge Zeman, right? Because he made all the headlines because of his vote about school choice and school monies and all that kind of stuff. He's the one that made all those headlines, right? And yet, even with all the negative press, and even with several groups who are out there actively campaigning against the retention of Judge Adolph Zeman, first of all, 52%. He was retained 52%. Okay. But I mean, this is the standard. This is about the retention of each one of these. 50, 57, 58, 56. This one's 74. Apparently Pickerel is very, very, Judge Pickerel in the District 1 is very popular. But I mean, most of the time it's just kind of this toss up. I mean, why do we even do it this way? What is the point in all these judges? We don't know anything about them. We don't get a voice or a say in putting them in place. All we can do is retain them. And to me, it's frustrating, and it's an exercise in frustration. I have, for the last 25, 30 years, voted against the retention of every judge. Not because I don't like them, it's because I don't know them. There needs to be some kind of different process in how we, I guess, select and retain our judges. I think we need to have more of a say. I think we should be more engaged and informed. But it's hard enough to keep track of all the candidates, let alone, what do we got? 4 there. That's 8. That's 12. 16. 19 judges. We would have to find out about 19 other, I guess it would just be for our districts, but we'd have to find out about a dozen more different people. And should they run for office? Should judges be elected? Should they be confirmed by the people? I don't know. Should they be appointed and then confirmed by the people instead of the legislature? I mean, I've never been able to vote for something like this if I didn't understand it. If I didn't understand it or I didn't know, I would just vote no, because that seemed to me to be the most intellectually honest answer. If I don't know, I can't press that on other people. But all the judges have been retained. All of the judges have been retained. Even Judge Adolf Zeman, the scourge of the homeschooling movement, 52%. Is that what I said? 52%? 52.8% yes to retain him. All right, we got to go. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio.
Running on 100% pure beard power. Oh, also some coffee. We dip our beard in coffee.
Nice beard.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay. Brian says kind of what I'm feeling here. He says, I don't like the system, but can't come up with a better system, which is still workable. I know in some areas they elect judges. I know in some counties they elect judges to certain positions, certain bench positions. I don't know. But I don't know if that's, does that then politicize those judicial positions more? I don't know. Ever since I started voting, I have been voting no on retaining the judges. Because again, if I don't know them, if I don't know their track record, if I don't, know them personally or haven't read enough about them, I'm just saying no. It's almost like it's just it's a ridiculous exercise. It's a ridiculous exercise. And maybe that's my bad for not going out there and researching more about what each judge does. But I would say if they want to retain the position, maybe that onus should be on them. Maybe they should. I don't know. I just don't know. It's hard. I think Brian has said it. I don't like the system, but I can't come up with a better system, which is still workable. So Bill says maybe there's an idea. Ballot measure to take them off the ballot. They should be termed out and reappointed. Okay. I mean, that would at least put them back through the process and give the legislature another chance to have a bite at that. I just don't know. Kevin says it shows the judge vote shows what every con man knows about Americans. We are predisposed to say yes. Ain't that the truth? Is that really the truth, Kevin? Say yes. Say yes. I mean, yeah. Yeah, voting for a judge, says Tony, is basically, hey, you want to vote for this random stranger? Yeah, I know. Tyler says, how do they get appointed in the first place? Maybe they should have to do that every X number of years. Well, in the first place, a list is provided by the Alaska Judicial Council, which is made up of lawyers from the Alaska Bar Association. And they submit that list to the governor. And then the governor picks from the list of names who he wants based on what's going on. And then the legislature approves it. So the people are never involved in any part of the process. The process starts with lawyers to begin with. And lawyers, again, the Alaska Bar Association has got an outsized finger on the scale in the whole judicial council choices. So it's already kind of a private club to begin with. Then they choose a handful of candidates, and then the governor picks from whoever the candidate list is given to him. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe we should do a show where we talk about this. Maybe we need maybe we need to start looking at other states, how other states have done it, and see what the track record is. Yeah. Tony, I've missed you so much, man. Judges aren't appointed. They're mythical creatures like eldritch warlocks, like Voldemort. That's why no one says their name. They spontaneously come into existence magically. Yeah. Yep. The Judicial Council, says Bill, is dominated by Democrats and corporate lawyers. They are either put in by politics or money. Kevin says it's the Missouri plan. Judicial Council is too heavily weighed by attorneys and the Alaska Bar Association. Need a 5-year retention vote and one more public person, a non-lawyer, on the council. I'm all for putting non-lawyers on the council. I think it's too much self-interest is being served in a council that's made up almost entirely of attorneys to then nominate attorneys to become judges. I think that could be, okay. All right. I'm just going through here, see if there's anything else. Already politicized, says Catherine. The judicial is already politicized. Separate them from general. I don't know. It certainly politicized the judiciary in some of the rural communities in the deep, deep South. Yeah, that's part of my hesitation to say they should be voted on or they should be elected, because that's a deep politicization of the judicial process. I just, again, you're right, Brian. There's no easy answer on this. No easy answer.
Public enema number 1. Oh, wait, sorry. Public enemy number 1, which makes more sense. On the other hand, he's a little bit of a pain in the Michael Duke show.
Okay, so the good, the bad, the ugly. We got down to it. We're down to the end here. One more final segment here for today, this post-election coverage of where we're going. On the good side, it looks like Kamala Harris was defeated again. Not my first choice candidate to win, but better than the alternative, On the good side, it looked like Nick Begich is going to be our next congressman. This sounds good to me. I'm hoping that continues to play out, but it looks like that he is going to be the next congressman for Alaska. That's on the plus side. On the plus side, in the Mat-Su, Rob Yunt beat out incumbent David Wilson. On the plus side, in the interior, Mike Cronk defeated his challengers for that Senate race for Click Bishop's old seat. That's good. Down in the South, it looks like Sarah Vance has defeated her challengers as of right now. Looking like she's probably going to take that seat as well. There is some good news. There is some good news out there. On the flip side, there's some loss. There's some ugly. And I think first and foremost, if you're picking winners and losers as far as goods and bads in the races, I would say probably the most devastating thing, well, it might be a tie. I'm going to say that the passage, of course, on the plus side, the good side is that ranked choice voting looks like it's failed. The repeal has passed, so it looks like we're going back to what it was. But on the bad side, if we're picking the Ugly Duckling Award for the worst thing that happened, it's almost a toss-up, but I think probably ballot measure number 1 going in is going to have one of the largest unintended consequences, the largest adverse impact on small businesses in Alaska. And I think it's going to be devastating. I really do. And we're going to have to see how that goes. We're going to have to see what the unintended consequences are on that. Now, Catherine said, this is just the beginning of the fight. If we repealed ranked choice voting, we can repeal ballot measure number 1. And that's true. We can repeal ballot measure number 1. It will take a concerted effort because it's such a feel-good measure. of that. Well, of course, everybody deserves a living wage, right? You pronounced intended wrong? Did I what? But between the cost of the increase from the minimum wage, which I think wouldn't affect many businesses, but will affect some, but the effect of that on salaried employees, and then, of course, the mandatory leave pay, and then the slapping down of the First Amendment rights of the business owners, that's going to be a difficult thing. That's going to have a real impact. I would say tied for that probably is the loss of Ben Carpenter. I think that's huge. I think that's huge. That was a guy that was fighting tooth and nail every single day to try and help put Alaska's fiscal house in order. That was a guy that was trying to come up with a fiscal plan, a long-term, stable fiscal plan that would help bring the state out of the darkness of deficit spending, which we're projected to again for the next 10 years. I would say that ballot measure 1 and the defeat of Ben Carpenter, probably the two biggest uglies of the good, the bad, the ugly from this election. I'm really sad to see it. That's the ugly. The bad is, again, the loss of Laddie Shaw's seat to Kai Holland. I guess on the good would be Julie Colombe's defeat. Chuck Kopp taking over Craig Johnson. That's kind of on the bad side because Chuck Kopp is kind of one of those business as usual Republicans who has no problem working with bigger state spending. He's a huge advocate. He wants defined benefits. He wants more spending on the government side. There's a lot of issues there. But it was a balance. It was a balance of good and bad. That ugly, though. Oof, that ugly is so hard. We'll see what happens. But definitely that is my two biggest disappointments right now. Is ballot measure 1 and the loss of Ben Carpenter in those things. Yep, we still have Kelly Merrick. That's kind of it's a good, it's a bad, it's a meh, right? Who else? Again, Mike Cronk was a good one. The Ron Gillum, Justin Ruffridge race, that's kind of a wash. I mean, I would like to have seen Ron win that race, but at least we know that Justin will work with a House majority. Same thing with District 8, the John Hillier and the Bill Elam race. I mean, I would like to have seen Hillier get in there, but we'll see where that goes on. Maybe a plus, because we don't know how it's going to run out yet, but maybe a plus is the District 18 Cliff Grow and David Nelson race. So this is, again, we got lots of good, we got some bad, and we got some ugly. And I think the ugly, again, is the ballot measure 1 and the loss of Ben Carpenter. That's going to be painful. It's going to be real painful. So we'll see where that goes from here. But this is the good news. Can I give you the good news? Here's the good news. The good news is we're still here. The good news is the country survived. The good news is that we have an opportunity to take a stand in our own communities and to pay attention to what's going on around us, to stop paying attention a little bit to some of the national things that we really have no effect over and just burns our blood and boils our blood a little bit, and focus more instead on what's going on locally in our own communities, in our own, boroughs, in our own states. Maybe we can focus on that a little bit. And maybe by doing that, we can help bring things back together. Yeah, maybe there's a possibility. Maybe Ben Carpenter runs for governor. Maybe he runs for, something. I don't know. I don't know. I would hate to lose Ben. out of the legislature. Who knows? Maybe he can go back and work as a staffer for somebody and do behind the scenes stuff. I don't know. But I would love to see more of a plan in the state and in our communities. Yes, I'm worried about some of the national stuff too, but we know that we can't affect that the way that we can affect our local communities in our own state. And so that's the good news. If the good news is we're still here. We made it through the rough times. We made it through COVID. We made it through 4 years of the Muppet in Chief and the befuddlement and everything else. And now we get a chance to have a do-over. We'll see if Trump has learned some of the lessons that he said he's learned, or whether he's going to give in to his authoritarian streak. We'll see how Begich does in working with other Congress critters and whether or not he can help protect Alaska. Here's hoping that he can create enough alliances to help protect Alaska. And, but we should be focusing on what's happening in our state because this is where it affects us directly. So we're going to continue. We are going to continue. I'm happy to say that the election is over for now. The 2028 presidential race starts tomorrow, right? The next run for governor or for legislator or for whatever starts tomorrow. I mean, it'll get to be that point in not too long. But right now, we made it through. We could take a bit of a break. We can relax a little bit. We can wait for the rest of these results, these damn results to come in. 25 days of waiting before we actually get the final, full-throated results. It's another thing on the ranked choice that you could just hate that we won't have to put up with anymore. But here we are. We made it. We made it through. All right, my friends. Stay ungovernable. Be kind. Love one another. Live well. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more. I don't know who we're even going to have at this point. We'll be back. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Be kind. Love one another. Live well. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, my friends. Well, that does it for me today. I am ready to go. Got stuff to do, people to see, checklists to check off. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming in and joining us. The Michael Duke Show. Common Sense Radio. See you, Tony.
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Duke Show.